when the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won. Thus did Shakespeare describe something Scottish in that most Scottish of his plays, the Scottish play. But if I were just a touch more mentally ill, I could claim that the bard was writing, some 400 years before the event. Let us not forget about our epic game at Marchington yesterday. In fact, upon closer inspection it becomes increasingly clear that Shakespeare used many of his works to ready the world for the advent of a cricket team so crap as to be beyond description by all but the bardiest among us. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? This is a man, old, wrinkled, faded, withered, and not a maiden, as thou sayst he is. Note that Shakespeare even uses a well-known cricketing term here. Coincidence? I think not. For the man, as you know all, hath a contemptible spirit. I rest my case. So, was our trip to Marchington much ado about nothing, all's well that ends well, or Big Mama's house 3, like father, like son? It was, in fact, none of the above. Instead, it was arguably the most action-packed and, yes, exciting game we've ever played. The bald facts: played 2, won 1, lost 1. The bushier facts: played 130 over game and lost by just 4 runs. Played 110 over game and won by 2 runs. And along the way no fewer than 4 bowlers, 3 of ours, 1 of theirs, were on hat tricks. 2 players made stirring contemptible debuts. Nasher hit a 6 and Paul D suckled long and hard on the milky teat of cricketing redemption. The first game was a magical affair. Marchington were politely asked to bat first to ensure the match enjoyed some longevity. They responded by collapsing to 18-5. Dimmick has ordered me not to downplay my own achievements here, so I'll admit that I took a decent tumbling catch to give Jim F his first wicket. In his next over, Jim then blew away 2 more batsmen in 2 balls before committing the heinous crime of failing to make the batsman play his hat-trick ball. Not to be outdone, new boy Andy Ayrton Henna * Gordon was soon on a hat-trick himself, clean bowling their captain for his second victim. And Righty rounded things off by skittling 2 more batsmen in consecutive balls. All 3 bowled superbly. Jim, 4 overs, 3 for 10, Andy, 4 overs, 2 for 22, and Righty, 6 overs, 2 for 23. Caffers then entered the fray and enjoyed no luck. His first ball was smacked straight back at him. He stopped the shot one-handed but couldn't hold on to complete what would have been a spectacular caught and bowled. After that, he was routinely clunked to the short, downhill and downwind leg side boundary for 6s by a man who went on to make 58. But the self-same man was dropped off Caffer's final delivery, in his 30s by Paul D. It was a steepling top edge, to be fair. But Paul had taken the wicket-keeping gloves from Scampy by then, and those gloves are big, welcoming, catchy things. Alas, Paul's cap obscured his vision to such an extent that he attempted to catch the ball with his head. Call me a purist, but I always try to use my hands. The hapless Flash then endured over after over of mockery until the by now half-centurion contrived to hit an even toe-edgier, more steeplized shot in his general direction. Paul responded by chucking off his cap, wildly misjudging the flight of the ball and pouching a chance 10 times more difficult than the one he'd dropped. The response was instant. Paul was engulfed in heaving, sweaty man-flesh as a flange of contemptibles reenacted the Gary pylon that so live in the Shlevin match last year. Almost lost in all of this Ralgex-tinged homoeroticism was the fact that the catch also marked Scampy's first wicket for the club. Set 105 to win, Nasher and myself were back in the hutch by the time the score had reached 22. 51 runs later, we were cruising. The ever-reliable Stewart and debutant Rob Clark made light work of a slow, low and unpredictable pitch. We now needed 32 to win from 17 overs with 8 wickets in hand. Victory was assured. 10 tawdry overs later we were all out for 100, with Jim Field stranded on 6 not out. He received about as much support as a Lib Dem councillor, with only Andy, 9 including a cracking straight 6, and Righty, 2, troubling the scores. With time on our hands, we agreed to play another match. We batted first and Nasher took to the bowling like a wheezy priest to an altar boy. He hit his first ball for 4. And when I say hit, I mean top edge to the third-man boundary. He then hit his second ball for 6. And when I say hit, I mean top edge to the third-man boundary. All in, he missed, edged and occasionally middled his way to a personal best 22, dislocating an opponent's thumb along the way. Jim Field continued his batting renaissance with a 4-soaked 16 and Stewart, 26, and your humble correspondent, 16 not out, took the total to a really quite impressive 86 for 4. As we had 10 non-gloved players and there were 10 overs to bowl, we all got 1 over each. Stewart, Nasher and myself all bagged a wicket and Paul continued his rehabilitation with 2 victims, one off a genuinely planned slower ball. And Paul's slower ball is slow. Kaffers got tonked for another 6. JD was marginally less economical but Rob C managed a maiden and it all meant that Marchington needed 22 off the final over. Righty bowled the over. We won by 2 runs. Nuff said. It was a great day of cricket. Our fielding was alarmingly good, our bowling even better and our batting a crock of shit. One day we'll excel in all 3 cricketing disciplines. No, we won't. Still, who cares? This game had it all, high drama, comedy, tragedy and a lovely homemade Victoria sponge with a coconut topping, and not even Shakespeare could do all that.